Hello and welcome to Rich Rides. This week I'm reviewing the 110cc Honda Scoopy. So the first thing to talk about with this are its looks. They're a bit Marmite. Personally, I'm not a fan. It's a retro style scooter, but for me, the sort of headlight area just doesn't work. The rest of it's okay, but this big sort of droopy headlight thing doesn't quite work for me. But as with most things, these things are subjective, aren't they? Next, let's talk about the ergonomics of it. It's physically quite a small scooter, as you can see, and these are pretty close to the sort of front of it there. The arms are in a fairly comfy position. Like most scooters, the handlebars are fairly thin, so it's quite a comfortable riding position. Unusually for a scooter, it actually has handlebars that you can see rather than loads of plastic, and I think that's really useful because you can put your sat-nav mount and phone mount, those kinds of things on it. As far as controls are concerned, all fairly basic stuff. So like most scooters, you've got your rear brake on your left lever and your front brake on your right lever. It's a disc up front and a drum at the rear, but because this isn't anything quick, then actually they're fine, work quite progressively, feel strong enough for what it is. So other controls and dashboard and stuff, all fairly basic. It's just got an analog speedo, and again in this sort of retro style, with a fuel gauge and your warning lights, that kind of thing. Indicator on the left, lights on the left. Something it has got is the sort of fuel saving idle stop, so that when you come to a stop it will switch the engine off, and then as soon as you sort of twist the throttle, then it starts up again automatically. You can switch that on and off through this button on the right hand bar though. The seat on this is quite comfortable. It's just a single sort of long seat. It's not stepped or anything like some scooters, which do make it a bit better for passengers. Like I say, this one is just a flat seat, and I did notice that this is the same age as the scooter I normally ride, a Honda Vario, but this seat has worn a lot more than that one, so I don't think the quality materials are up to the same sort of standard. It is slightly cheaper than the Vario as well. Something on the dash I am really impressed with are these mirrors. I think because they're higher than mirrors normally are on scooters, then you don't get any elbow in, or you hardly get any elbow in. So they certainly work a lot better than the Vario. I don't have to sort of tuck my arms out of the way like I do on that. So they work really nicely. As far as the engine's concerned, it's a 4-stroke 110cc, where in the UK we don't normally get many 110cc's, they're normally 50s or 125s because of the sort of laws. But here 110s are fairly popular. It is quite down on power compared to the 125. Like I say, if I'm comparing this with the Vario I normally ride, that's a 125, I think that's about 11 horsepower or something, where this is less than 9. You can tell, especially on acceleration. It's still reasonable for around town, but it's certainly softer and hasn't got enough oomph when you want to accelerate quickly. This engine is very, very smooth though, and it's very quiet. Again, comparing it to the Vario, it's definitely quieter when you're just cruising. Of course, with this being a scooter, it's a automatic CVT gearbox, so no gears to worry about, and it's a belt drive. I mentioned comfort earlier. It is quite a comfy scooter. The suspension isn't the best though. Again, it's built to a budget. These scooters brand new are around £1,000 here, and the suspension does suffer. So the slightest bumps, you do feel it. It feels quite hard when you initially get on it, and it doesn't soak up the bumps that well. If you're on a smooth road, it's fine, but let's just negotiate that. So if you're on a smooth road, it's fine, but any sort of bumps, even smallish ones, you really feel. You can feel it through the rear suspension as well as the front on this scooter as well. So it does sort of bang and crash a bit over rough stuff. So on to my usual 3 positives and any negatives about this bike. The first positive is just how easy it is to ride. Anyone could just jump on this and ride it very easily. A friend of mine actually got rid of his Vario and got one of these because he found it easier to ride. It's got a slightly better lock in traffic. The throttle, as I said, is a bit duller, so you can't accidentally accelerate hard, and it's just super simple to ride. Very, very easy. The second thing, just like the Vario that I did the review on, is its value. So it's just ridiculously good value out here. So less than £1,000 or around £1,000. Does something ridiculous like 130, 140 miles per gallon. I guess the third thing is, if sort of retro and stylish looking transport is your thing, then there's one there in exactly the same colours as this. And they do look quite funky. They don't look modern, they look retro, but if that's your bag, you'll like them. So any negatives? As I said before, I think the biggest one is the suspension. That's a bit crashy and cheap. This one's about 5 years old. It is showing some signs of wear, but as it's effectively a hire bike that is probably not the most well kept and looked after thing, it's still fine, but it is showing some signs of wear. You can see there's a bit of rust around these mirrors. At least it shows the proper chrome and metal rather than plastic, at least. And as I mentioned before, then the seat is wearing quite badly. It's obviously sat out in the sunshine and ridiculous heat a lot of the time here, but that is showing signs of cracking already and is very faded, and some of the plastics are quite faded too. I guess the only other negative, but again it's a sort of price thing, is that with the brakes it's just got combined braking system rather than ABS, but it is a sort of low to mid-range scooter. This, it's not expected to have all the bells and whistles. So in summary, what do I think of this scooter? I think it's great, sort of easy transport, would make a really nice first scooter, and if you've never ridden a scooter before, I do think it'd be a really good option. It's so simple to ride. Excuse me, Mr. Dog. So yeah, it's super simple to ride. Anyone could ride it. It's not intimidating at all. You're not going to get yourself into any trouble. So that's it for this week. I hope you found that useful. If you've got any comments or questions, please just ask below. Do give this a like and a subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel, because I have got lots of interesting stuff coming up. Lots of bike reviews, and as you can see here, I'm not in the UK and I'm currently on a round the world tour, and at each place I'm trying to have some sort of two-wheeled transport, so I'll be doing as many reviews and things as I can. So thanks again for watching, and see you again next week.